Most runners take running for granted. We complain about hills, bad weather, sore legs, missed goals. But imagine being told you may never walk again. Today's guest was paralyzed as a child, and somehow he went from learning how to walk again to running one of the world's toughest ultramarathons, the Leadville 100. But this episode isn't just about ultra running. It's about appreciation for movement, for suffering, for second chances. It's about learning how to stop chasing numbers just long enough to enjoy the run. And honestly, this conversation completely changed the way I feel about running. Cue that intro music.
Who says you need to fly to reach the top? Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand, join the flock. It's okay to run scared, we enjoy the life.
Welcome back to the Ostrich Running Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Miraz, and with me today is Jarrett, the Juice Horton. You don't see him on camera right now, and you don't see our guest that we have, because I'm actually hopping on this podcast a little early just to go ahead and give some clarification onto what we're doing today. Now, this episode is amazing. It's great, and I loved it, but I wanted to make sure I could trim it down so we could get the whole episode within one single episode, and I wanted to be mindful of the length of this while I did that. So today's guest is Sean Casey. As you've heard me introduce him in the monologue, this kid is incredible. Before we get into the amazing journey that he has been on, I want to give you a little backstory. Sean is from San Diego, California. He has a loving mother and father and two younger siblings. He currently lives in Orange County in Newport, California, and he is really on this incredible journey to become a competitive ultramarathon runner. But when you listen to his story of what he had to endure in order to get to this point, it is absolutely amazing. With that being said, that's all we really kind of talked about, not downplaying it, but I just wanted to make it feel like you didn't miss out on a whole nother part of this conversation. But we are going to jump right into this episode where he starts talking about the story that is just so incredible. But before we do that, I want to do two quick ad spots. One for Ostrich Salt. Ostrich Salt is available. It is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, lightly flavored, built for ultramarathons. Really avoid that flavor fatigue. Built with quality ingredients, food grade magnesium. Please go to the website, check it out. We have hats on there. We have new collaborative hats that we are working on or we have released. And I also want to talk about Alethea Run. It is a running sensor that really builds out your force portrait and helps you truly understand what kind of data that you're putting out on a run, not just cadence and pace. We're talking, push-off force, your running gait, your hip mobility. You are going to be able to take this data and really improve on your runs, your form, as well as avoiding injury. We love the team over at Alethea Runs in Eugene, Oregon, Tracktown, USA. Great group of people, affordable priced running sensor, basically a full running lab in your pocket. Please go to alethea.run and use code RUNSCARED10 for your 10% discount today. It is incredible. Also, please rate and review this show. We absolutely love bringing this show and these stories to you. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is Sean Casey.
My name is Sean Casey. I am from San Diego, California. I live in Newport Beach, and I recently ran my first 100-mile race in Leadville, Colorado.
Sean, tell me, at what point did everything start to change? You're living in San Diego. You're younger. What point did things start to change for you?
Yeah, so as a kid, growing up, just normal athlete, playing football, playing sports. And I remember waking up one day and my feet were asleep, which was a little abnormal, but nothing too concerning. And I went to school, had a normal day, and my feet were still asleep when I got home. So I told my parents and they took me in. Doctors gave me some fluids because I thought I was dehydrated.
Always.
The next day I woke up.
They always want to say, oh, you're dehydrated.
I went to the hospital recently and that was the first thing. Like, you're dehydrated. So
yeah, that's the first response. And
just give them some water.
So next day I woke up and it had gone up closer to my knees. So just pins and needles, whole lower extremities. And so I knew something was it was just a little abnormal because I was healthy.
How old were you at this point?
I was 13. I was in 7th grade.
Yeah. So at 13, I mean, we don't really...
And especially he's an athlete too.
Yeah, we're
so
not thinking things like that, right? You're not like...
everything's going to go
just
away.
like something just happens. You're like, hey, my legs are asleep. That's crazy, huh?
Right.
You know, you don't think anything. You're so naive at that age. So they're starting...
Well, you're an athlete, so any bump or anything, you're just like, it'll go away. Something's off right now, but I'll work my way through it, right?
Yeah. So the pins and needles are starting to rise at this point, right?
Yeah, they're starting to rise. And so we go back in and they start doing a little bit more testing because, I was back the second day in a row and everyone had left the room. There was something from across the room that I needed to grab. And so I stood up to go get it from across the room and I heard something and I didn't feel anything, but I heard it. And I was wearing the hospital gown because they were doing a testing on my back and I stepped and it was like a puddle. And I looked down and I completely peed myself. And I had no idea that I did that. I couldn't feel anything. And I was like, crap, something is definitely wrong. And, looking back, it's kind of like a funny story, like peed yourself. But that was really when I knew like, oh, wow, like I didn't even feel any of that happen.
I can't imagine that at 13 too. It's like I can't even quantify any of this.
Yeah, very concerning, but still at that moment I didn't really know what the options were for what could be wrong. Like I was always healthy. So I didn't really know what was going on. And then within 72 hours of that, I was fully paralyzed. I woke up in the ICU and I was on a ventilator and I couldn't move at all. And all my family was around me the entire time. My parents never left, my sisters. But so it was a very fast process of like feet to knees to, within a couple days, completely, that's paralyzed.
And when you say completely, like, are we talking shoulders down, waist down, knees down, neck down? What's completely paralyzed at that point? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so it was full paralysis. So the way that I communicated with my parents and the nurses was they had a piece of paper and it was a 6x6 card with things that I might want. And they would point at it. They'd point at every single one and go down the list. So there were 36 options of things like turn the volume down. I'm cold. My head hurts. Like this whole thing. And you just blink. So I would blink once for no. And if it's what I wanted, then I would blink twice. And that was like the way that I was communicating. And so I was in the ICU for 21 days for that. And total time inpatient at the hospital was 94 days. So just over 3 months.
Out of that 21 days, how many of those were full paralysis days?
14 probably. I mean, I would say in between 10 and 14. There's some, the movement started really slowly. So there's videos. Thankfully, my mom took some videos that I wasn't happy with at the time, but it's good to look back and have the data, the images of what really was going on to understand the gravity. Just like moving my fingers was like a huge celebration, getting that done.
What are you thinking at 13?
Yeah.
Like, what's going through your head?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, you can't talk, right? You couldn't talk.
No.
Okay. So does your inner like dialogue, we all have that inner dialogue that, does it become loud and clear and center stage for you? Right now I'm trying to like put myself in this situation,
I couldn't
right?
imagine
as
that.
A kid, like I think I just hear myself screaming, right? Like my inner dialogue screaming. What was that like for you? Like, were you freaking out? Were you like, stay calm? Okay, this is what's happening. What kind of conversations were you having internally with yourself at this time?
That's a good question and something I haven't thought about so much. And I think a lot of this time I really did, whether intentionally or unintentionally, just block out of my brain entirely once it ended. So there are a lot of times when my parents will tell a story or I'll see a photo and I'm like, I don't think this happened, or I don't remember that happening. Wow. Internally, I think frustrating is probably the word to describe it. Yeah. There's so much you want to do, and there's so many things that you don't think of that you need to do until you cannot move. Like rolling over to when you're sleeping, like just adjusting. Like every time you want to do that, you wake up because
I can imagine having like an itch or something. I don't know if you could.
Like,
yes, that's real.
That's real, right?
Yeah, that had feeling, right? And you're like, oh my God, this itch. And then you have to wait through 36 different prompts on a card to finally say, yes, I'm itchy. Man, that's insane. I think you're right. I think your body was understanding the weight and the magnitude of the trauma. You just
kind of take it one day at a time. Yeah. Really. Like when you're going through that, I think.
Well, and then you mentioned you were a quarterback, right? You know, the high pressure stuff, you take that deep breath and you're like, okay, don't freak out. Let's just lock in and, settle yourself. I'm sure at some point you were internally settling yourself. You were trying not to freak out. You were blocking things out. Anything in particular that your mom brought up to you that you don't remember at all?
It was a lot of the videos. So when I started my Instagram account in September, I knew that I had the story that I wanted to tell. So I needed to figure out how to tell it. So I needed to find these things. So I asked my mom, hey, like whatever you have from this time, can you just just send it over.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't recognize myself or myself in any of those moments because you just kind of forget that even happened to you. Like videos of me standing up for the first time or videos of me I remember there were these erasers that go on the end of pencils that I just had to take off and put on over and over and over again. To learn to use my fingers. So just putting them on and playing Connect 4 just so you have to pick up the pieces and all of these little things that I was doing every day because I lived there for 3 months. So it was my life for, a while. And all I was focused on was physical therapy. So it was.
And as a kid, I'm sure that felt like an eternity.
Well, yeah, for me, when I was in the hospital, it was just, getting over that next obstacle. It's just like that next battle. Every day turns into just a little battle and you don't think about everything you went through. At that time, like you're so living in the moment at the time for me. Yeah. So I'm imagining it was something like that. Yeah.
Did you ever have a moment where you felt like you were never going to recover?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. And so I've been sick twice. This was the first time I got sick.
Oh.
The first time I got sick, I never had that feeling. And I honestly think that was a huge part of my recovery is and maybe it's because I was 13 and I was naive. I just never contemplated not being back at school and back on the football field. It never crossed my mind. I was just like, well, this is horrible. How am I going to go do the stuff I want to do? And I never thought anything was going to go beyond that. I knew it was going to be temporary. And I think whether that was just me being a kid or it was God or what it was, I think it did help because I was able to see that. And there are a ton of reasons for that. My support system. Yeah. I talked to people who had recovered from this disease. It's called Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's an autoimmune disease. I didn't say that, but your immune system shuts down your nervous system. So it's just an internal attack on the nerves, really.
Where did I hear this recently about? Was this the same thing Freddie Freeman's son had gone through with the Dodgers, right?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, Freddie Freeman's son. He was treated right up the street at Hoag there. So his son he was either 5 or 6 years old and he got Guillain-Barré.
I remember that happening. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, how, obviously it's a very rare, but how many people does it affect? Have you done the research since then? And as you're older now with a new lens on the disease, have you looked at how many people this affects?
Yeah, I think that there are around, take this out if it's wrong, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yep.
I think that there are around 100,000 cases a year globally. Almost all of them are not to the extent of full paralysis.
Yeah.
So typically they can stop it, and for mine, it got to that point. So it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
It's a pretty rare disease.
Is it genetic or something that you do, or no one knows?
I mean, I think with
They don't know.
autoimmune diseases, it's like so hard to even find out. Autoimmune diseases are, I feel like those are all like Dr. House cases, right? Where you're just like, everybody's trying to figure out and do some sort of detective work. That's tough, man. That's crazy. So you mentioned that was the first time. So I guess we're expecting, something like this similar happened again. And at what age?
Yeah. So I recovered from Guillain-Barré and I was moving again. So I was in the hospital, and then I got a power chair. I got a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. I got the crutches, and then I was walking on my own. So it was, I was learning how to walk again at 13. And I did end up recovering from that. So I full recovery. I don't deal with any complication. I went into the hospital at the beginning of May of 2013. And I was playing playing quarterback with near no mobility. Probably shouldn't have been out there. I had a rushed return to the field. Probably by October, towards the end of the season.
Wow, dude.
Recovery.
Holy gosh. That's insane.
So
learning to walk again and playing in the same year. Wow.
This is insane. Do you think that helped shape your mindset? Then, obviously if you ask me, Nick, at 13 years old, what did walking and movement mean to you? I probably couldn't even told you what I appreciate out of it. Even still to this day, like I know now that I've done, these distances, I appreciate suffering and in some sort of, aspect, but like you went through some very, what do I want to say? Like you had to grow up fast in that moment, right? When you came out of that, did you have like a known appreciation for what you were given and the opportunities that you were given from that moment on? Were you like, oh, I'm not taking that for granted ever again?
Yes. And that has only gotten stronger as I've gotten older. It is a blessing to move. And I tell people that all the time. You should do it now because, I had football practice 2 days before I was fully paralyzed, and, anything can, it can be taken away from you immediately. And that I don't need to be told to go outside and move my body. Like I don't struggle with motivation anymore. It's not something it's when to stop is now the issue because I keep going.
Yeah.
And since then, that's a massive part of it because most people don't ever have it taken away from them and, until they're, pretty older. Old.
Yeah.
That's kind of typically how it happens. So most people don't ever have to understand what it's like to not have it. Yeah. But once you don't have it for a couple days, it's really hard. And then you don't have it for months and you learn to appreciate it quickly.
Yeah. It's so crazy how you can be fine one day and the next day everything just turns upside down.
And this is the thing that like, it could be through an autoimmune disease, right? It could be a car accident. It could be a work accident. You never know. Like at any moment, it could all go away and it's tough. That's why I'm so blessed to be able to share your story, because if anything, it's a reminder for anybody who's, considering like, should I do this? Should I do that? What if I won't, what if it's going to hurt? What if I can't do this?
I'll run tomorrow.
I'll run tomorrow. We always put it off, right? Those New Year's resolutions are always like, I'll get moving out there. I'll run eventually, right? You never know. And what if it happens in that time that you were just contemplating anything, right? So, obviously we mentioned this, but I think it's probably why you appreciate these 100-mile races, these ultra runs, running a lot, right? Because it's chosen suffering, right?
Yes. Chosen suffering is something that I have talked about and think about a lot. It's very important to practice it.
Yes.
Because unchosen suffering happens.
I told
I want to
Jared
know when
this.
he got sick the second time too.
Oh yeah, actually. So you were kind of leading into another sickness. What happened there?
Yeah, so the following year, it was late summer because it was my first football. It was right at the end of football practice. So when we were about to start going into our game, so it was in August of 2014, I took off my football pants and I had petechiae completely covering my body. And petechiae is basically when you don't have any platelets and your blood. I'm not a doctor, so
right. I mean, this
blood,
is really good already. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you don't have any platelets, and blood goes up to the surface of your skin. So it looks like dots, like it looks like little polka dots on your skin, and they're purple. I was completely covered in them, like
wow,
like thousands of them on my legs. And before that, I had gone to the doctor a couple times because I was in really good shape, and workouts were really hard for me that should not have been. So I was thinking something was wrong. They gave me an inhaler. The inhaler didn't work. And so I had been going back and forth with them, and I took off my pants and I was covered in petechiae, which,
oh my gosh,
previously that wouldn't have scared me. I don't know what it would have done, but having just recovered from being sick, it really rattled me. And so I went into the doctor and they took my labs, and they were basically at zero. All of my blood counts were, in the bottom 5%.
Oh, God.
And so I had no red blood, no white blood, and no platelets.
And what's the worst case scenario that can happen out of those, no white blood, red blood? What does that cause, like, for a worst case scenario?
Yeah. So white blood cells, that's your immune system. So any common cold would have been severe for me, very severe. Playing a contact sport with no platelets is a very easy way to get internal bleeding. So it was good that we found it quick. But the white blood cells was the biggest issue because I had no immune system. So I was pretty much on quarantine immediately.
Yeah.
And I flew out I got diagnosed with aplastic anemia, which is bone marrow failure. So my bone marrow was no longer producing blood. I was a candidate for a bone marrow transplant.
Go through all this at a teenager.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this was kind of back to back, which, it's good. I chunked it up. I got it all over with quickly. But my sisters, so your siblings are the first option for a bone marrow transplant as a match. Neither of them were a match. So I entered into a clinical trial in Washington, D.C. at the National Institutes of Health. So I moved out there pretty much right away because I got selected to be in the trial. And so I got treatment for a few days, really brutal few days, really scary. They thought it was
what is it? Is it like a chemo kind of thing, like a chemotherapy kind of treatment, or what is it?
Yeah, it's not chemo. So I didn't have to get chemo or radiation. It is called ATG. It's some serum from a horse. So there's the horse and the rabbit. I got the horse one. I like to say that helps me on the trails. But yeah, so I got that treatment and success, the trial. So this, like, outwardly was not as serious of a disease because I wasn't paralyzed. I looked relatively normal. I was sick, but I wasn't in a power chair.
Yeah.
Right. But this
sounds like it could be more dangerous. Like this could be probably more deadlier than the first one, though, just because of your white blood cell situation.
That's right. So this was a way more serious complication than the Guillain-Barré, even though it didn't look like it at first. It was. So yeah, this is when I did a Make-A-Wish. I went to the Bahamas with my family, so we got to do that. They're a great organization, by the way. Everyone, you support Make-A-Wish if you know Wish Kid.
I'll be sure to tag them in the show notes. And I mean, we all are aware of Make-A-Wish, but I mean, dude, you're getting a Make-A-Wish. You went through that. What's going through your mind, man? I mean, this man, just from what he went through, October of last year, PTSD.
Yeah.
Beyond belief. What did your internal dialogue feel like when you had this again? Obviously, it rattled you. I mean, it had to have rattled you.
And it's something completely different.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what's going on?
Again, back to that internal dialogue. What was Sean telling himself? Was he just back to the same situation where you're like, stay calm, you're going to get through this, you're confident that you're going to overcome this? Or did you start to doubt and have questions at that point?
Yes, those crept in. It was a big shift in my maybe even identity, definitely mindset, that the first time I just got sick and I just got sick, and that was what happened. I got sick and I recovered. And then when I got sick again, then I became a sick person or became someone that gets sick. So if it was one time, then okay, I have a story there, but now I'm sick again, which really changed. And it's like, okay, well, now that I'm sick twice, when is the third one coming? Right. Like after one, that wasn't the story I told myself, but then you get twice and they're not even related to each other.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, what is next in line for me? Like, what am I going to have to deal with? So it was a lot more of the doubt and am I going to get better? Do I want to get better? Is this what I want my life to be? Because there was only a couple months of time in between these two.
Right.
It was just a summer, really.
It's like always looking around a corner, you're always worried about.
Yeah, and I can't even imagine, man. Yeah, and then for you what was the thing that kind of took you through it? I think we briefly touched on faith a little bit, your support system, your family, but, is there one thing or multiple things that you can kind of point through that helped you get through that emotionally?
Yeah, I leaned on a lot of different things, and I think the support system is at the top of the list. I mean, my family was just, I can never repay them for, the way they were there for me when I was during that time. And that includes my sisters. I mean, my sisters were like little girls who their whole life was basically me in the hospital. Their life was also very affected as well, even though they weren't sick. Their childhood wasn't normal either. And
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it affects the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, the support system was huge. It definitely strengthened and really started my belief in God during that time, especially the second time, because I was like, I can't do this alone. Like, I don't know why you're doing this to me, or, and it leads to doubts in that sense as well. You feel like a victim.
Yep.
You feel like I'm being punished for something. I did something wrong. And now, 10 years out, I'm incredibly grateful for all the stuff that I went through because, I've been able to, I think, help some people. Yeah,
it was shaping you to, where you're at today. And, I appreciate where your page, how it got into my algorithm, right? The stories that you're telling was, I don't even know what had happened that day. Something with my son and I, just challenging, right? I think normal parenting blues, where you're pulling your hair out. You're like, am I even getting anywhere? Right? him and I, we butt heads in a good way though, because he's like basically my mini me, and I expect a lot. We're always just pushing each other, but it's all love,
same
right?
Personality.
Yeah, same personalities, right? And he's only 8, so like we got plenty of years to come through and challenge each other. But I think that day, I don't know, I was struggling at some point, and your post of your dad, helping you through that stuff, and then being with you on that journey, dude, I was fighting back tears when I saw your post, and I was like, you know what? Who cares? Just appreciate what you have right now. Like, appreciate all of this stuff. Like, enjoy life with your son, especially as he's young. It made me grateful for what I have, right? And it's not anything against what you went through. I think it's just great that you're so open to that story, because not everybody's situation is the same, right? My sister, she's an amazing woman. My nephew, cerebral palsy, and these are things that we never even thought about, right? PT every day, trying to teach him to walk and control, right? And she's got this whole other life ahead of her, and she's such an inspiration to me, like watching her go through this every single day with her son and not giving up. And it's a shame that a lot of us have to go through something traumatic in order to appreciate what we have. I think we talked about this too in some other shows, where it's like, why can't we just run and learn to run and appreciate without having to go through some trauma, right? Just having a good time and appreciating it. But, God works in mysterious ways. He works through people like you, in order to share your story for somebody else out there to hear the message. But I just, first, before I forget, to say thank you for at least being so vulnerable and sharing it, because it's going to get to multiple people, and especially, you're a very well-spoken, you're a smart young man. And, I think the world's going to appreciate you being so open about your story, even as difficult as it may be, even as difficult as I'm sure it was to rewatch those videos of you as a kid and look through like an outer body experience, right? But you are doing something great. I think it is a story that needs to be shared. So I'm grateful for that. And, I want to ask you, like, now at this point, when did running,
why did you want to torture yourself more, Sean? Why did you want to do this to yourself?
When did the first run take place? When did running become a part of this, journey that you're on? And then I'll ask you a few questions after that.
Yeah, for sure. And just to go back to something you were saying earlier and being open about sharing the story, that is definitely new for me still. I was definitely carrying a lot of shame and, no one cares about my story and all of that throughout. And I realized that was quite a selfish way of looking at it. And there are people that can be helped by it, because I am shaped by everyone else's stories too. Yeah. So, I remember when I went to college, I was so happy because no one there knew what happened to me. Man. I was so excited that no one there was going to see the wheelchair kid or, all that stuff was a lot. So I was really happy about it. And then after I think growing up a little bit, I realized that I should really be, it's selfish to not talk about it, because there are people out there.
Yeah. God, and, a higher power, something greater than ourselves, chose you to go through this suffering for a reason. And whatever it is, maybe it's not as external as, we think, but I think it is. Maybe it was more for the family dynamic, but I think, given, if you felt that calling in you to share this story, it's for a reason. And I think, the more I've gone through my own journeys and struggles, the closer I've been connected on a spiritual level to God, a higher power, anything like that. And the more I've been attuned to listening to, the messages out there, right? And it's also like a muscle, right? You have to learn when to, hear this voice and, something moving you to do something beyond yourself, right? And as you get more in touch with it, things are going to become clearer. So I know that you're still fresh into this journey of sharing and being vulnerable. You're doing great, man. That's all I want to say is you're doing great. You're right where you need to be. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Gosh, I have so many questions. So many questions. Let's jump into, I'm sure there's so much more that has happened. Gosh, that's awesome for you, by the way, going to school and being able to be you without the wheelchair and people knowing, that probably was kind of relieving and freeing in its own journey and to grow into that. So I'm glad you got that opportunity to get a fresh start and, find yourself in that area. But, at what point did running find its way into your life? At what point did you go to the dark side, as Jarrett will say?
Yeah, I obviously grew up playing sports, so it was always a small piece of it. But like we said earlier, on the punishment side of things. And I ended up really liking weightlifting and being in the gym. And when I got to, I was a senior in high school, I wanted to like be a gym bro. There was the cool guys on Instagram that they looked big, and I wanted to go to college and be jacked too. So I started doing all the gym stuff, and I got super into it, and I spent the majority of college really just doing that. And
are you still playing football in high school?
In high school, yes. College, I did not play.
Okay.
Yeah. So I finished out through high school, played football throughout there, and then college, I didn't end up playing.
Okay.
But yeah, I was in horrible shape though. I had the gym bro, I had the build, but I was
all for
unhealthy.
Muscle, right?
Yeah, I was unhealthy. I couldn't, I don't know if I could have run a mile. I was just not doing well on the cardio side. Like if there was any cardio,
like
it was
lift a car, bro.
Right.
At the time that was the priority. So, and then, kind of looking at health more holistically and, what do I really want to do? And where do I need to shift focus here? Cause I have this, all of my eggs in this basket, but I don't really feel that healthy. And so I slowly kind of started getting into the running. And senior year of college, I would run some mornings with my buddy. We had a little 6-mile loop that we would run and walk and, just do. We lived really close to the beach. So it was not hard to get down there. It's very motivating when you're looking at something nice. So we'd go down there and we'd run. And then once I moved over to Korea, we lived in a place with a super nice rubber pathway, basically a track that followed this river 10 miles. So it was incredible for running. And there were everyone was so active there. It was kind of eye-opening because, and of all ages, like you'll see, people that are 95 just jogging around.
Where I play soccer, the Koreans all meet up and they just, all ages are just running around this track, like hundreds of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's true over there as well. And I was just kind of inspired by it. And I was thinking, like, when I'm that age, like, what do I need to do today to be there? Yeah. And there was I was foolish, but there was a marathon that was like a couple months out, and I was like, I could probably run a marathon. I could do it. And so I signed up. I mean, I didn't really do an actual training plan, but I ran a little bit more, and, I did a lot of, I didn't know what I was doing. So, it was everyone's first run. I had a Timex watch on and just kind of did that. And I had to walk a good amount of it at the end. I had the BioFreeze spray on my knees. Yeah. I was doing I think I probably ate like 50 calories that entire race.
I did a half marathon. I didn't train for it at all. I just went out and did it with my uncle. Same thing. I didn't even eat before, nothing. Because growing up playing sports, I don't like to eat before running or doing any exercise. So I was like, I'll do that. I'll do the same thing tomorrow.
It's what started his hate for long distance running. It was where the villain arc of the Juice was born, was on that half marathon.
I went a different direction. You're right.
Dude, like did you have any particular, like, so what did you think of the marathon distance before you ran it? And did you have anybody who ushered you into the sport? Was there anybody that you watched social media or just video wise that inspired you to get into marathon running? Or did you just see people out there in Korea running and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I can't really remember following so many running influencers or being I wasn't really in the scene. I was in the gym scene. I knew all those guys, but on the running side, I didn't really know the deal. I didn't really understand the significance of the marathon or if it was going to be hard or what really to expect.
So naive. So it's
yeah, I mean,
into bliss at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, it was kind of nice in a way. I had no training plan, just kind of did my thing, and it was kind of nice. Yeah. But when I finished, well, said I was never going to run again. That was my first decision after the marathon. And yeah, I ran a time that my goal was 4 hours and I ran a 3:56. So I hit my time.
God dang, man.
And I was thinking, if I can really do this like and I can learn how to do this well, then maybe I can be good at this sport. Yeah. Because you have the competitive drive. You want to keep playing sports always. And there's no, I'm not going to join a semi-pro football league or whatever that looks like, a tackle football league on the weekends. And running was just so accessible and you could do it anywhere. And I was, I just kind of started getting after it after that.
Yeah,
it still bothers me that I didn't finish within 2 hours. Like that competitive nature never leaves ever.
Yeah. The more I do these runs, like the longer I've spent doing ultras, the competitive side starts creeping in, right? It's become, can I finish? Can I do this distance? Oh, that was kind of not as bad as I remember.
Can I podium one day?
Can I get faster? Oh, wait. Am I close enough to being competitive in this sport? Okay, let me see what it looks like to put in the effort to give it a solid effort. And where do I rank amongst these people when I give it an effort, right? It's all fun. Like, and that's, I think, a competitor inside of a lot of us. I wish at some point, I think we always look back and just go, man, maybe I should have probably picked up running a little bit more, but I'm kind of glad the journey that I found, the way to running. I enjoy running long distances because it is a therapy for me. I've been able to really experience and answer a lot of questions inside. Has that been the same case for you, spending long hours out there during training? I mean, I'm sure you had a training plan for Leadville, which required many, many hours of long runs. And what would you think about, what was those experiences like? And is that what has kept you in the ultra space a little bit longer?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. And I think a big piece of the ultra sport that I have found more appealing to me as time goes on is when I ran the first marathon. Like I said, my first thought was, how much faster can I run the next marathon? Not like sitting there and enjoying what I did, thinking it was a good accomplishment. I've run faster marathons since, and that has not changed at all. Every single time I finish, I'm like, well, this is what I left on the table. I should have done this differently. Yeah. And I think with trail running and being in Southern California with, maybe the best options in the world, it's very easy to just go out there and kind of not think and just enjoy being out there. Cause I think a lot of times in marathons, and I just trained for a marathon and I ran one on March 1st, and I definitely lost sight of why I was doing it during that training, because training runs would end up being a failure if you don't hit the certain split or you don't get the time. And I never want to see movement as that way. Like if I'm out there, it's a win. I always want to have that mindset of, the start line. If you can make it to the start line and you're healthy and you're out there, that's what more can you ask for? Like something's going to go wrong. That's fine. But I don't want to look down on myself for not hitting a certain time. And I said I was going to run a sub 3 hour marathon and I didn't. And I was super upset about it for, longer than I should have been, and just disappointed. I thought I was letting people down, and letting myself
And it's
down.
like 10 years ago, you were paralyzed. Okay, come on, man.
And Nick, take that advice this weekend when you run.
Dude, you are saying exactly what I needed to hear. See, this
it's
shows
amazing
for
you guys
me.
all go through the same thing.
Yeah, this shows for me only, not for the listeners out there. This is 100% for me. I am currently in that same situation right now. I have a 50K. I have O'Neill Park 50K coming up. And all this training block has been is, can I hit the podium, especially at my age? And, what is it going to take? Is it possible? And I think the last month or so, I've really lost sight of what originally all of this stuff was. And it was to silence my mind, dude. Like, I've been through so much in my military, in my post-military. Even the journey to get to where I am now has been just
even
a
living
wild
every day
ride.
now, right?
Yeah, even living
family.
every day with a family. Like, you look at me. I'm on 8 years of sobriety, full sobriety. And if you look at my life 8 years ago, you probably wouldn't even, recognize like who I was. And, so I needed to hear that because this training block has brought something different inside me. I feel like these runs, I'm like, dude, I didn't hit the pace I wanted to do. I'm just terrible. Am I going to even do this? Is this even worth it? And I just got to get out there and just go,
Like you said, get to the start line.
Just get to the start line, right? Today I have a freaking arm brace on, a wrist brace on. My back was all screwed up. And I'm just like, I have the race this weekend. What am I going to do? And, it is what it is, man. I got to remember that it's all for fun, right? It's out there to just push ourselves. Dude, 4 years ago, I couldn't even run 2 miles. So, of course, we got to appreciate what it is and just have a good time. And I think from a competitor aspect, right, when we don't put so much pressure on ourselves, we perform a lot better, right? When you're out there and you're just not forcing it, good things happen. I think that as an athlete, right? When you hit that flow state, right? You're just out there. Every pass that you're throwing is just connecting. You're like, oh my God, I can't miss right now, right? You're seeing every rusher that's coming at you. I just need to find a way to just enjoy it and not put as much pressure on myself. And I appreciate that.
Enjoy the moment, Nick.
Yeah, I really need to enjoy the moment. So, thank you for that.
Sean, what made you go from running marathons to deciding you wanted to run ultras? Because you could have just stayed at marathons and kept getting faster and faster.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So this is a multi-layered answer. So the competitor answer in me is I'm never going to win a marathon. I don't care what marathon it is. I will not win. I'm not going to podium a marathon.
Right.
If the race is 300 miles, maybe I have a chance. Not that I've done that, but if you start changing what the skills are, and those are skills that maybe one day I can get. The marathon, not in this lifetime. It's not going to happen.
You weren't born
if I can learn, there's some. I'm working against some stuff out of my control there for sure. But if you look at ultra runners, I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. I'm a bigger dude. And you look at ultra podiums and you see a lot of bigger dudes that are able to perform well, especially on the multi-day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're solid guys. And so I think that was a part of it where I'm like, okay, maybe I can learn how to do that. But that didn't come until after I decided to make the switch. That's kind of why I decided to stay. But making the switch, so I guess the way I think of it is I didn't decide to start ultra running. I decided to run Leadville. And then after that, I decided I'm an ultra runner and I'm a trail runner. So I kind of did it.
100 miles, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
I decided to run 100. Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If Jared knows about the race, he knows it's a big race.
Yeah.
So he's okay, that's a big race.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's an organization called First Descents, and they are not exactly like Make-A-Wish, but they're kind of similar, and they work with critical illnesses, and they provide these outdoor experiences for young adults. So kind of like two things that I really, really love. Yeah. And they were one of the charity partners for Leadville. And I came across them in late November of 2024. And I just emailed their executive director and said, hey, I saw you guys on the Leadville list. Like, what's the deal? Like, what are you guys doing? Yeah. And he's like, have you run an ultra? What's your... I was like,
he's
nope.
Like, what's your deal, man?
I was like, no, but I think your organization's cool. He's like, okay. And I was like, yeah. And it didn't seem like there was much headway being made. And I was like, I'm going to send him an email. So I kind of summarized my story and said, hey, I just take a look, please. And he's like, okay, like you could be on you could run with us. And I was like, sweet. So and then, well, first I wasn't like sweet. I was like, crap. I have to run 100 miles. I was like, wait, I didn't think I didn't think you were going to say yes. you weren't, I was supposed to try to sign up and you said no, but and he said yes.
Say no?
Yeah. So then I was thinking, well, now I have to run 100 miles, and Leadville, it's pretty hard to get. I wasn't going to qualify for Leadville, and the opportunity to run it's pretty small. It's a well-known race, but there's not a lot of spots, and it's a lottery, and it's just generally hard to get into. So I had the opportunity in front of me, and he's like, you have 72 hours to say yes or no. And so I used 71 of them to think about what my next year was going to look like. And I decided that I wasn't going to get in again. And if there was a time to do it, I was 25, and I was thinking, if this might be the time to go for it. I was feeling good, and I just come off some nice marathon blocks. So I had the background, and I didn't really know much about it at first. I mean, I just like any new sport, it's like basically I had the running background, but trail running it's so different. I didn't really understand, the quirks and the people and
eating. So for 71 hours, did you start looking up what this would take like crazy, or like?
I've seen every piece of Leadville content that has ever been made. I've seen
that 71-hour period.
Everything. Yeah. There's a channel, Ultra Running with Simon, and I have seen hundreds of hours of his videos. He's run Leadville a number of times. I watched every single one, and I was like, I want to be like that guy. I want to do what he does. So I got fired up about it. I mean, like a lot of the big names have done Leadville. It's a historic race. So it's when, like, before I knew anything about ultra running, Leadville was the one race I knew about. And that's kind of why I don't think I would have signed up for a smaller 100, because it wasn't really something I was so passionate about. But the gravity of Leadville kind of made me want to attack it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's fast forward to Leadville.
Where's Leadville?
In Colorado,
in
correct?
Colorado.
Yeah. And in Leadville, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
But you get there, you're at this iconic race. It's about to happen. All of your training. What's going through your mind at that start line? It's hard to even sometimes it's a whirlwind at the start of these races that you don't even get to process anything till after. Were you able to process anything?
I mean, did you train like crazy getting ready for that?
Yes, I trained. My summer was training. I mean, I felt like a professional athlete basically with my schedule. That's how I tried to make it seem for myself, because I put so much pressure on myself I could not DNF this race. It was not an option for me. I had to. And a big, I have that pressure on myself, but the fundraising piece, I raised a lot of money, and I really, really did not want to have to call those people and say, hey, my stomach hurt. I couldn't finish the race. You know, it was a lot of pressure that I had on myself, and it was not a carefree experience. It was a very, you know, calculated.
Yeah.
I had my every single cutoff, because the Leadville cutoffs are faster than a lot of the other hundreds. So it's a 30-hour cutoff instead of 36, which a lot of the other hundreds are.
Yeah.
So it's not really one that you can chill on, especially in the first half. The cutoffs are pretty tight. So
yeah.
I knew where I needed to be and when. But at the start line, I did cry at the start line, which was cool. I thought that was nice to kind of let go. It was really overwhelming.
Oh, I bet. I mean, it's just insane to just think about where you were at, you know, as a kid to being at that start line, and, you know, to have your family there, as you mentioned, crew and pacing at some point too. What was the worst parts mileage wise for you in that race?
37 was the hardest mile. That was the closest I was to quitting the race for sure. That was the only time that I thought that I wasn't going to finish the race. So the way I look at Leadville is in 3 parts. So you have running to Hope Pass, and then you have Hope Pass, and then you have everything after. So Hope Pass is, it's the hardest section of the course. It's, you get up to almost 13,000 feet. So you're at 12,600 feet altitude. So you're up there. And it's like 3,000 feet a gain in 2 miles going out. And then the way back is like 3,500 feet in 4 miles. So it's steep climbs. And there's no way to train for, I mean, I was on an uphill treadmill all the time. There's no way to train
for the altitude.
For that, especially, you're at the altitude and you don't have 40 miles under your legs when you're doing those workouts. You know, you can do all you can to train. But when I got to 37, I had run for maybe 8, I don't remember the exact times, but it was somewhere between 8 and 9 hours. It took me to get to Hope Pass. So I had run 37 miles. I felt horrible, and I hadn't even done any hard part of the race yet.
I hadn't even done that.
Oh
Probably had to be like just severe doubt. You're like, dude, I'm not even a third of the way, and I am struggling.
You guys are so incredible to make it to like 37 miles, be in the worst pain in your life, and somehow you guys all push through
63 miles.
Yeah, what? Even your last 100, I don't get it. You look like death at mile 40.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
So definitely chunking it up was something that I had to do. So that's kind of why I tried to look at it in 3 parts. So like I said about the cutoffs, they're very tight in the front. But if you can make the cutoff at mile 62, getting back from Hope Pass, you're in a very good spot to finish the race. That's also when you can pick up pacers. So I had 3 pacers. I had 2 friends and my dad, and my mom was there crewing. So I knew that, so 37, one thing, I don't know if it was Andy Glaze or someone else, but he said a rule he has is that you never quit at an aid station. Yeah. And that was something that I remembered.
There's a few people who say that too. Yep. In a few books, and it's a very famous quote. Never quit at an aid station. Never.
Yeah. It's by far the easiest. I mean, I would have loved to quit at that aid station. I'd run 37 miles. That was the second furthest I had ever run. And you're sitting in a chair. You feel like you're going to throw up, and you're literally sitting at the bottom of a mountain that you have to go up twice. You have to go over it, and you have to come back the other side. And it's just so daunting. But I knew, and my, Tyler, one of my pacers, he's an ultra runner himself. And he said, okay, you just leave. Like, if you're going to quit, like, quit over there. Like, go a mile away and quit at mile 38. Smart, like, like, you cannot quit here. So I was like, okay. So I get all situated, and then you take off. And obviously once you're moving, you start to feel better. Yep. You're like, well, I'm not going to turn around now. Yeah. And there's so Leadville's an out and back. So mile 50 is the turnaround. Once I got to mile 50 and I had turned around, significant mindset shift of now I'm coming home. Now I have to go that way anyways. I'm going back that way. I remember when I was at mile 39. So I was right at the bottom of Hope Pass, and it's an out and back. So you run past the people, you're even on like single track, you're running past each other. Mm-hmm. Running past people that are coming in. So I was at 39 on my way out, and David Roche came screaming by me. So he was at mile 61. He finished Hope Pass before I got there.
That dude is an animal, an absolute animal. Like,
he's unbelievable. He's flying down. He's smiling. He's saying, I love you to everyone. Yeah. I'm like, what is this guy? Like, I'm a terrible runner. Like, what am I even doing out here? Like, cause he was almost, he was almost home, and I hadn't even done Hope Pass. So it was kind of one of those funny things where I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing here, but just keep going. And seeing that absurdity of it all, I think is kind of helpful. But I would say 37. I knew going into it that if I could get to mile 62, I was going to finish the race, because I knew once I had pacers, because you're alone for most of the race, leading up to that. Once I got to pacers and crew and I had them with me, I knew that they would help me. I trusted them so much. I knew they were going to not let me stop. That was the agreement. Like, I do not care what I say. Do not listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Keep moving. And look, so I knew once I got to that
race, clearly I am not smart. All right. So, oh god.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say definitely 37 was the low point of just the
You're
most
right,
doubt
actually.
I had.
37 is the low point.
There's nothing worse than, I think, being at the 50K mark and you have 60 something miles to go and it's not going well. That is the spot where you're challenged.
I don't know how you guys push yourself through that. Like, I really don't.
Well, let me ask you, Sean, how did you push yourself through that? I mean, did you pull from your childhood? Did you pull from, the appreciation? Like, what was it that drove you past that? What was your mantra that kept you going in those dark moments?
I had a lot. I had a lot of mental tools and things that I was trying to do the whole time to just get through it. Something that I did a lot was talk to myself, and not in a crazy, like, trail runner way, just them being weird.
It is in a crazy way.
Every trail runner does it.
Appreciated. So,
but a lot of talking to myself and just saying things like, this is normal. Like, this is normal for Sean. This is fun. And kind of trying to convince yourself that it is the whole time. Saying that a lot. I prayed every hour on the hour, no matter how short or fast or what I wanted to say. And that was from one of my good friends told me, hey, when you're out there, just remember, who brought you out there. And so that was really helpful for me, just to like have something to do every hour and just something to kind of like bring myself back. That was really helpful. I did look back on the experience I've had before, saying a lot of things like this is not hard. Like, that was hard. Like, this is not hard. Like, I chose to be here. You said it at the beginning of the podcast, chosen suffering. Like, I signed up for this. I came here. I dragged my mom here to, to watch me do this. You better do it. And, so it was a lot of different things that I had to do. And some of them were like that. I counted to 100, probably like over 60 times, just every time my pole hit the ground, just counting. And I got to 100, I'd start over. And it's just like a way to just kind of try to numb yourself in a way, but you're not thinking about anything. It's hard to explain. That's what so many people ask me when I finish the race is, what did you think about for 28 hours? And I'm like, nothing, but also everything that has ever happened to me, I also thought of.
Yeah. I think an under appreciated tool in an ultra runner's toolbox is the ability to zone out.
Right. It's like you guys are meditating out there, though. It's you hit a state of zen.
Yeah. Like, if you can say, like, what were you thinking about? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, Kodiak 100, I was like, make it to the night. you're powerful, you're strong at night. This is where you live. I spent so many years staying up all night. I flourish at night, and the weirdness of it, right? And I was like, just make right there, just do that. And I swear, like, night hit, I saw my wife at one of the aid stations and I'm like, bye. And then next thing I know, the sun's coming up. I'm like, where did I even run to? Like, oh, good thing I'm on track, right? That is a superpower that I am grateful to have, is the ability to just disconnect, which is dangerous because you need to focus on a lot of these runs. Like, people don't realize, like, if you do lose focus, so you got to have that balance. Twist your ankle. Yeah, I twisted my ankle too, which left me with 60 something. Yeah, about 60 something miles of, much like you, of running on sprained ankles. And by the time the 100 miles came through, it was an absolute nightmare and pain. And but again, like, my pacer, I leaned on, and, the question was asked, are we preserving injury, or are we just going until the wheels fall off? And I'm like, we're going. Just don't let me stop. And God, it's
crazy how you guys channel your whole life into this.
Yeah.
This 100. It sounds like, everything you guys have been through.
I think a strong why is also a very important compass to have when doing these, right?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Because if he's like, mile 3, nah, I'm good. We're good. Kidding. You know what? 97 more miles, we're okay.
We're good.
I think we joked about this morning, where you just said, if you're doing a mile run, you don't even want to finish.
Especially if I had to get to 50, and then I had to look at all the same things coming back. Maybe if it was all new.
If it was a straight,
yeah.
He doesn't even want to finish the full yogurt cup. So
yeah. I always leave a little bit.
He always leaves a little bit of there. So maybe his strong why can't even finish a cup of yogurt. Yeah. So, dude, Sean, it's incredible. As we kind of wrap up here, I think I would love to have you on again to talk more about some other things that are going on. But I want to just ask you a couple more thoughts. What does running look like for you today, after post Leadville 100? What's on the docket, and what do you hope to accomplish in the future in ultra running?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good year lined up that I'm pretty excited about. Like I said, I'm new to the ultra running game, and I'm still learning my body and learning what it can take and what it can handle. I gave it more than it can handle, for sure. I've been dealing with some torn glute, hip area muscles that have been giving me some trouble, and those are overuse injuries is what they think. So I've been spending a lot of time on the bike, a lot of time in the pool, a lot of time in the gym, just trying to get right. But that's just kind of part of the game, and going forward, I'll know that I did my first race 7 months ago. So I feel confident that I'll be okay going forward. I went to Big Bear, and I ran the Kodiak 50K course 3 weeks after Leadville.
Oh, okay.
For what reason, I don't know. I shouldn't have done that.
Because you got a lot of issues, man. It's okay. Just embrace it.
Yeah.
You're a man with issues now, and this is your life.
Yeah. I was looking for a solution to something. It wasn't in Big Bear, but
and it wasn't there, and I didn't find it in that 50K.
No. Still looking.
What did you think of the course up there on the 50K and like running up in Big Bear?
It was good. It was harder than I thought. It was honestly a really hard run.
Yeah.
I didn't really respect it, to be honest. When I got there, I thought, I've done Leadville, whatever. And
you were still recovering from Leadville. That's
you can just never do that with any course ever. You just kind of learn that, every course has its own little quirks that make it difficult and challenging. And, that one was no different, but that's a race I would like to do. I mean, something I really want to do going forward now, once I am, back, and I think I'm nearing that spot, is I'd like to race more. And that's in all distances. I think the races are so cool. And I didn't really understand that going to Leadville, but I said, even if I wasn't doing this race, I would come back to Leadville just to hang out that week and just be around everyone. It's just, the environment's so cool. And I think now that I'm posting on Instagram too, I've been able to make all these connections of people that are either local or, they're somewhere around that do these big races. So I'd like to be out there and do races more, and not even to race them necessarily, but just for training and just to go out there and have fun and just kind of use them to build. I am running the Speed Goat 50K in July. That's in Utah. That one's got 11,000 feet of vert, which will be tough in a 50K. So it's pretty vertical, which that one will be tough but fun. And that one is 3 weeks before Leadville. So that'll be kind of the last big training run. It'll probably look more like a hike, honestly, with the amount of vert there.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything named after a goat is probably not a good idea to sign up for.
Well,
the Speed Goat. I mean, the person.
Yeah. Anything named after him, right?
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah,
is gonna be brutal. That man is a beast in the ultra space. I like that, man. I really. I hope that we get to share some miles. We got some great courses out here. What's your favorite course to really run? I mean, obviously, this is another beautiful thing of where we live. We have a few places that could be, intended for different reasons. But out of the SoCal area, what's your favorite place to run?
Crystal Cove is my spot. I love Crystal Cove. It's super close to where I live, and it's trails on the beach. It's tough to beat. It's so beautiful. You can get a ton of vert. There's the classic 10-mile loop. It's almost 2,000 feet of vert. It's a great place to train. And you see guys. I see Max Jolliffe out there. I mean, if it's good enough for him, I think it'll work for me.
I got my first taste, and I've been told to run that for years and years. I go to Crystal Cove. And I ran Bomber Ridge at one point, not the whole loop. I just did the Bomber Ridge, and my home course is Black Star Canyon. So I'll do that, or like the Harding Hustle, like that course over there. But man, I did the 10-mile loop twice. A group was doing it. Full 50-mile self-supported out there, and they were using the park as their home base. But I started running, and I'm like, dude, this is a great course. I'm like, okay, now I see what they're all talking about, because you got speed sections, you've got climbing vert, but you have exactly what you talked about, where you look over and just the ocean's right there, and you just cannot beat it. It is an absolute beautiful course. So probably top 10 out of here, man. Like, if it's got to be one place. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're in the area, you haven't run it, go check it out.
I'll go out there and run a mile.
No, he'll run 0.98 miles and he'll leave a little bit.
Oh, I finished my mile.
Okay, so that's your favorite course. Now, the last thing I want to leave this with is, if you have a message for anybody listening, our audience is that of experienced trail runners, people who are trail running curious, people who are ultra running curious, people who are ultra running veterans, just anybody out
ultra
there.
running haters that should
the
be ultra running.
He's trying to grow the audience there. If you have one message that you could give to our listeners out there, please let us know what it is, and give them some knowledge.
Yeah, I don't have any technical trail running tips to run your first 100 mile or anything like that. But what I do have is, I think, an outlook of appreciation when you're out there and moving your body. And I think adopting that can only help you. It's so easy, like we already touched on, to just get bogged down on your splits and your time and how much vert you have and your training plan and what exactly you need to hit. And sometimes you need to just, turn off your watch and go out, run a loop, look around and enjoy it, and just be excited that you're out there, with yourself or with friends or whoever you're running with, and just really appreciating what you have. Because as someone who has not always been able to do that, it's an incredible blessing, and being able to take advantage of it and staying healthy and moving your body it's one of the biggest blessings that we have. So I think appreciating it and taking advantage of it, not, starting your running tomorrow, going out, if the sun's out, go run. Doesn't matter how far it is, how fast you go, but just going out there and really, just kind of doing the thing, and not focused on so much on planning it or analyzing it, and just doing it to do it.
I love it.
Yeah, Nick, turn off your watch.
I can't say I do that often, but
I've had enough of your stuff.
And Sean, if you don't find what you're looking for, we're always looking for new soccer players. I can come pick you up. You live right down the street.
Don't let this man even bring you on.
It's a new sport, a new challenge.
I think Sean might end up taking you to the. He'll come play soccer.
No, I'm not going anywhere near Sean.
He has a few. What do you call that? What is your villains? Your somebody that you're not.
Oh yeah. Your trainer.
Yeah. You. Yeah, he has a few people in my life that he's like, I will not be around
almost
them.
Everyone that we interviewed, I would go nowhere around them whatsoever.
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to get him out there. That's my secret goal.
If I see him on Crystal Cove, like if I'm just trying it, I will run the other way. Like I will literally, he will see me and be like, Jared, just come on.
Jared.
Just come on. Just one foot in. And next thing you know, I ran 5 miles, 6 miles that day. Next thing you know, I'm ultra running.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
I'd love to see
yeah.
We'll
get you on
I
the
get
full
super
loop.
inspired by you guys.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you. We appreciate you spending some time of your day just sharing your story, man. I hope we get a chance to share some miles and talk a little bit deeper together, get out there on these trails. I would love to run with you one of these days and, just go enjoy this a little bit more. And, again, just thank you for spending some time with us. And I hope we can get you back on. We can talk about some of the races you have coming up, or shoot, maybe we'll have you back on when you finally get that podium spot of a distance that you've been looking at, right?
At 300.
And if you do start becoming very popular, don't forget we're, Ostrich Running when we were here and we had you first. Okay, please.
That's
please
right.
Don't forget us.
My first podcast. So this has been, it's been awesome. Yeah. And hopefully we do get to share some miles.
Yeah, man.
I've got Javelina at the end of the year. So I know that one you might have some tips for me there.
I got you,
I'll
man.
be out in Leadville again. So it'll be
this year. I'll be in Arizona around that. Just after Javelina, I've got my furthest distance on the docket, 140 miles, Route 66 Ultra Run.
Why
in
do you
November.
guys keep going further and further? Like the 100 is perfect. It's just perfect.
I got nothing to say to you.
It just it just happens. There's no one who's run 100 who doesn't.
That's why Sean's
think about
competitive. I know
200.
if I got around him, it'll just happen. Like
he just wonders why I do it. He's like, whatever, Nick. I'm a runner pretending to be a competitor, I guess, at some point. But hang out for a couple minutes. Let me close the show out real quick, and I want to, say a proper goodbye offline.
Where can they find him?
Yes, where can we find you on social media? And where can they reach out to you and see your story?
Yeah, Take the Stairs 1 is my Instagram handle. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm on the other stuff too, but maybe have some long form stuff coming out for the races on YouTube. But yeah, Take the Stairs 1 on Instagram is the best place to follow along. I will be sure to remind you to do the hard thing if you give a follow,
which is take the stairs. And actually,
take the stairs.
You were on my mind when my wife and I were at Universal Studios, and I said, okay, we're not taking any escalators while we're here. The whole day we were out there just taking the stairs. So thank you for that inspiration, because it was
God
on
dang
my mind.
Now I'm going to think about that every single time that I go out.
There we go.
I'm just going to be
your story popped in, your handle popped in. I was like, you know what?
I'm going to be at a hotel and there's going to be 30 floors up. I'm going to be like, Sean
today's the day.
Sean wants me to take the stairs. I'm taking the stairs.
You got to do it. It's tough. I've got, I don't know if it's a video, but I've got it tatted on the arm here. Take the stairs.
He is showing us his tattoo right there, dude. I love
every time I look at an elevator and I think, man, it'd be nice to get on that. I just think if someone saw this on my arm, me in an elevator, I can't be seen in public on those anymore. So it's not really an option for me. I've got to be on the stairs. Right. So I'm glad it's resonating. Yeah, I can't have a photo of me on anything like that. So I got
the guy from Take the Stairs on the elevator. Here we go.
Yeah.
Dang it. So we will never see you in an elevator. All right. Perfect.
Hopefully not.
Sean, hang out for a bit, and I'm going to close this show out with Jarrett. Well. Another one for the books, man.
God.
I mean,
more and more incredible every single.
What a story of
perseverance.
Perseverance, chosen suffering. What it's like to to not even plan for the things, and even at such a young age, to have that stuff taken away.
It's amazing how you guys just jump into this sport too. Some of you guys, like,
yes,
how you guys just have
right
the guts. So you guys just hear about 100 or you hear about a 50, and you guys are just like,
what a better way to learn than trial by fire.
Right.
And I think that is, you can never really prepare yourself. Except by going in.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can just say to anybody out there. Just if you're considering it, just do it, because you'll overthink it. You'll never be ready. You'll always going to go through a challenge. We heard him go through his training block, and he still had the challenges at Leadville at mile 37. So it doesn't matter what happens, what shows up. You're going to have to lean into your why. You're going to have to lean into your training, and you're going to have to get the experience on your own, going through these dark moments. And there's things that, over multiple 50s, you would say, oh, well, you've done that. What a 50 should be nothing. Well, shoot, I went and I learned new lessons at the most recent 50 miler. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, of course, here we go. So you're always constantly learning about your body, about what's happening. But yeah, please go follow Sean. Please go, watch his journey.
And appreciate the moment. That's what I took away from this.
Yeah.
Like,
appreciate what you have and your ability to choose the suffering.
What could happen tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you all
moving is a blessing.
Stay safe out there. Please enjoy your moments. Take the stairs. Take the stairs. If you have an opportunity, just take the stairs and do it.
Use your legs, because there's people out there that might not be able to, like, seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely are not able to.
Yeah. To all of our listeners out there, week after week, your messages of inspiration, support, we love it. We appreciate it. All of our guests love when you go out there and you show them some love. So make sure that you go follow our guest today, who so graciously spent some time with us to share his story. Please go give him a follow on social media. We also ask that if you made it to this point in the episode and you still haven't followed, subscribed, and rated and reviewed, shame on you. Go do that. 10 seconds. You can pause this right now and still finish this episode, or you can do it while you're listening to it.
Maybe I'll run when we get to 1 million subscribers.
Oh my gosh, please.
I don't know.
Please. No. It said, with that being said, thank you for all your support out there. We can't wait to see you next week. Cue that outro music.
Who says you need to fly to reach the top? Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand, join the flock. It's okay to run scared, we enjoy the lie. I'm an odd kid, like an ostrich. I got a pod, kids, here's a topic. Blaze your own trail, don't be cautious. 2 birds, 1 stone's how I rock it. Can't make an omelet without breaking a shell. But they say grew up, now I'm raising hell. Haters gonna hate, yeah, they pray and you fail. So put in the work, whether pavement or trail. The grades fell down, but they got to the feet. Run your own race, put this pod on repeat. Shake your tail feather, keep nodding your beaks. Ostrich gang, or you're not my peeps. Who says you need to fly to reach the top?